You're learning to code the wrong way. If you're stuck in tutorial hell, you need to try this approach. Welcome back to the channel. This is Miss Melissa, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my number one recommended approach for beginners in learning how to code. I get asked a lot by my beginning students, what is your recommendation on going through this process of learning how to code? How can I really make the most of my experience in this boot camp and outside of the boot camp? I'm going to share with you 5 tips, and the ending one is going to be my number one recommendation on an approach you should take while learning how to code. That will make a world of difference. Let's play opposition here. One of the biggest oppositions to learning how to code, especially when you're on your own, is finding a way to keep moving forward. Now, this is where a lot of people get stuck in what we call tutorial hell, because you're just watching YouTube videos, buying courses on Udemy, reading blogs, following through with all these tutorials, but you're not really making a lot of progress. You're getting exposure, which is important and essential, but it will only get you so far to keep copying and following along with other people's work. The skills that go along with being a good programmer are not necessarily just getting to know the languages. You need to be working on problem solving and other logical based skills. I also made a video on these skills. You can go and check that out in the description or the card. So especially if you're learning how to code on your own and you're just using free or low-priced options online, you need to have a way to motivate yourself to make progress. Now, if you're the kind of person that is very self-motivated and you can set a regular schedule where you're dedicating time each day, that would be ideal. Now, you can start very, very small. 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. And it doesn't have to be every day during the week. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, where you have a set time where you are going to sit down and work on learning, exploring, and engaging with materials. And that leads me to my next tip, is to engage in some kind of a community. Now, if you're a part of a boot camp or some kind of a course or group, then there may be a community attached to that you can join in. Otherwise, there are groups on Discord or Facebook, or there's a pretty big community on Reddit. There's always tons of people asking for buddies to partner up with to work on projects, or people to be accountable to while you're learning. You need to reach out to your network, especially if you're not self-motivated enough to keep dedicated on a regular basis. Another important skill is the ability to use your own resources to figure things out. However, my third tip here is going to be, don't spend too long being frustrated on one thing or you're just going to give up. If it gets too hard to overcome and you don't have a network to reach out to, and you don't have any resources and you have no idea where you're headed, you're just going to be stuck for a long time. Okay, so set up a rule for yourself, be it 30 minutes, an hour. Know yourself, know what your limit is before you're going to be able to realize that you're not really moving forward, you're just stuck. And at that point, you need to reach out to someone else to ask for help. Or at the very least, if it's somebody that doesn't know code, at least talk to somebody and try to explain your problem to them. Because whether or not they know coding, sometimes that does miracles. Just explaining it, trying to teach it or show it to someone else, even if they have no idea what you're talking about. Give yourself a rule that you're going to reach out somehow after a limited amount of time. Now, the next part is going to be just exploration and asking questions, opening your mind to the ability to think in a way that you understand what questions to ask. So you can get involved in communities like Reddit. You can go look at theme examples on Theme Forest. You can go look at websites of businesses around your area and just start asking questions about how they creative things on their sites or within their programs, whatever kind of coding you're into. Start looking at examples and make a collection for yourself of ideas and designs and other functionality that are inspiring or interesting to you. And write down your questions on how is that possible? What do I need to make this work? Just getting your thoughts vocalized or onto paper is going to really improve your thought process and increase your ability to use your resources and solve your problems independently. Now, if you are interested in joining up a Discord or a Facebook group, I have created those to offer a place for you guys to come and ask questions and get help and network with other people. So feel free to join those. The links will be down in the description. This is a completely new thing that I'm trying out, so there's no one in there yet. So if you do want to join, you have the advantage of having direct access to me while there's no one else there if you'd like to get help or ask questions. All right, so now on to our fifth tip here. And this is going to be huge. It's really the opposite of what I find a lot of people doing when they're learning how to code. A lot of what they do is follow along with tutorials and try to learn how to code. I'd like you to try to take the opposite approach, where instead of trying to learn how to code in order to learn how to code, I want you to come up with a project or a business or some kind of idea, some problem that you want to solve, something that you're really interested in, something that you'd be motivated to work on, that you find intriguing. And I want you to solve that problem. So now, rather than trying to learn how to code, you're learning how to solve problems. This is sort of a reverse engineering approach. And you can come up with something fictional. It doesn't have to be necessarily a real business that you're going to launch. But let's just say you want to create a website for this shop that will allow them to take online orders. Now you have to figure out what are the resources you need to use to put together this ability for them to operate online. And then you can go and start to research, figure out those individual pieces, and pick up these skills that are applicable to that situation. We get so stuck in learning one specific language at a time or just following along with a tutorial. We need to get ourselves into a real project-based, problem-based situation where we can apply some of those skills thinking in new ways, and then we can figure out what tools do I need to learn more about in order to create this project. So this project-based approach I have seen do wonders for myself and for my students and people I tutor as well. Homework and projects and tutorials and all that are great, and if you have a very specific case where you need to understand something you know you need for a project, then you can go find a course or a tutorial or a blog that relates specifically to that problem and use it within the context of your business idea or your project, rather than just getting stuck in this whirlpool of I'm going to build a portfolio, I'm going to follow along with this tutorial, etc., 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 etc. So set up a project as if it was a real world project. If you imagine you have a real client, whether you want to freelance or not, even if you're working at a company, you're going to have some kind of stakeholder and you're going to have deadlines. Set up a timeline, and if it's wrong, that's fine. But give yourself 2 weeks to work on a specific part of your project, and then check in with yourself at the end of this. Now, if you want to go above and beyond and really, really increase this approach, find someone that is interested in this project that can work on it with you. Now, there are posts all over Reddit, everywhere, people looking for people that are going to really stick it out, and there's even been some sites springing up about working collaboratively on projects and even being able to host a project somewhere where you can share revenue and rev share and all this. And I find that stuff really intriguing, and I'm very interested in how we can make things easier for people to collaborate, because I've found that there are so many wonderful ideas out there, and a majority of them never get implemented. And I really honestly think it's because we don't know how to gather all the resources together and do everything for ourselves. The ideas never get off the ground. We're worried about sharing them with other people. We're worried about, is this going to be profitable? I think we're just focusing on the wrong things. So some of these collaborative rev share type of models, I think could really open the door for more individual based businesses that are successful. And that's a whole nother topic, but the idea of success as a business is really skewed today as well. You don't have to be making $1 million in your business to be successful, be able to support your family, be able to have a small team. You can create a SaaS, software as a service product, and have a really small team and be really successful with just a base of 500 to 1,000 users, which is really doable. You need to engage in the idea of other possibilities. So if you're interested in these kind of ideas, I'd love to hear from you, what you think of these kind of models. I may be talking more about these in the future. So I really believe that people can take these ideas and really make a living for themselves. We don't have to be stuck in corporate jobs. We can be happy providing for ourselves and really making a difference in the world. In summary, project-based approach, solve a problem, do something that matters, that is meaningful to you, and the applicable skills will be drawn in and you will learn how to code as a result. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.